It's 2 o'clock in Philadelphia, and time for the best show ever. Now, your starting lineup. Bring in the heat. Ricky Talico. Hunter. Brody. Jen Scordo. And finally, your host, Tyrone Johnson. It's the best show ever. On 97.5, the Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Good afternoon on this beautiful Monday here on 97.5 The Fanatic and NBC Sports Philadelphia. The best show ever. Jen Scordo producing. Ricky Batalico, Hunter Brody, and myself, Tyrone Johnson. Phone number to participate, 610-632-0975. A lot to get to, so let's get right to our opening statements. And within that, we start with the word of the day. And the word of the day today is useless. Yes, useless. Completely and utterly useless. This preseason, capped off by Saturday night's game, has been completely and utterly useless outside of the fact that the sun keeps on rising and we're closer to the real games. This has been what the NFL preseason, and especially here, it's just useless. I'm not saying the Eagles aren't good. I'm not saying anything bad. We're going to talk to Bo Wolf from The Athletic at 3 o'clock. I'm not here to be negative about the team. But I'll tell you what I'm going to be negative about. This preseason, what in the world were we supposed to get from that game on Saturday? 48-10. I mean, you got starters versus some third stringers. They didn't even play their backup center, for example. Anybody who they really value, they didn't even mess with. Oh, how we speaking tomorrow? Sorry about that. Apparently, it got changed. All right. So, but either way, I am sick of this. What was this offseason? What was this preseason supposed to be? What were we supposed to get from this? Now, if you're talking about for the fans, I get that allegedly this is going to make players more healthy in the regular season and to start the season. And if you look at it injury-wise, Sanders, who I don't know if there's anything you could do to keep him healthy, and Kelsey's elbow was the only thing, knocking on wood. Nobody tore any ACLs in the games, and all that stuff is true. But as a fan, what did we learn from this preseason? What did we learn? They only did 3 joint practices. They did the 1 open practice. You learned nothing from those. There used to be a nice build to the NFL season via training camp where it starts off a certain way, and then we get the games. It used to be Lehigh, so you see the practices, and then you see the games. And little by little, we raise our enthusiasm to get to the NFL regular season, and we're excited. And we'll be excited when the Eagles play the Lions. Fine, we'll be excited. But as of right now, what have the Eagles given us this preseason to be excited about? We saw Jalen Hurts for 1 drive. Now, he was great in that 1 drive, but we saw 1 drive. A lot of players can get lucky and be great on 1 drive. We learned nothing. We're completely reliant on the reporters, and we love the reporters, and we'll have people on to talk about it. But as far as the fan, what the heck did any fan in this city get from this entire preseason? And I don't know if they should call that a football game on Saturday. That was not a football game. How many tackles is Davion Taylor going to miss? And then you tell me he's going to make the team. So if the player's stinking, doesn't even matter. Jalen Reagor made 0 plays this whole preseason. He's still going to make the team? It was all useless, and I can tell you right now that I'm tired of it. Hunter, what's going on?
I'm pissed off, too, just thinking about it. You know, I'm watching the Phillies. I'm watching the Union over an Eagles game. Let that sink in.
6-0.
And that's no disrespect to those teams, but I'm just saying, we know how much we love Eagles football in this town. A preseason game, you think, when it comes to the pecking order, it would be above those, no matter how juiced up I am for a Phillies postseason run, which we're going to get. So, you know, it got to the point where I was actually wondering, would it be better better for the NFL if the quarterback in preseason wore a red jersey and you weren't allowed to hit? But would we get more of your starters out there? Where I'm just trying to find ways to actually make it manageable for us to actually pay attention. And I don't know, maybe it goes back to, are you getting anything out of that if you can't hit the quarterback? Maybe not. So I don't know. Maybe that's a dumb idea. I'm trying to throw things at the wall to see what sticks. And I guess I'll say this about where they're at. The NFL has its own mind, and they do things that we feel is stupid the way they handle business, but I have to imagine that they feel our frustration. Like, I don't think they don't hear us. I don't think they don't feel us right now, where maybe there is change incoming because of what we're kind of opening the show with now. It should not be this way.
I don't understand it. I mean, bottom line is, how are you supposed to get better if you're not on the field, playing in a real game, real time, real speed? And we're talking, let's face it, we're all talking about a quarterback here and his timing with his players. Yes, he played that one series, had a nice series, made some nice reads. But you're going into Miami, they're playing their starters against you. So it's not the whole NFL. I think we are looking at a picture that's very small. It is the Eagles that are doing this. Obviously, you go into Miami, you get whitewashed because they're throwing in their starters. They're getting their timing down. Now, here's where it comes in. I want you to think about this for a second. There is a good chance that, you go into that first game, you get hit that first time. You're going to know you got hit. If you had a couple weeks of getting popped here and there every once in a while in some exhibition games, doesn't that make it a little better? Because I got to tell you, if I'm a player, I'm getting paid to play this sport, I want to go pop somebody that's not on my own team. I want to see a different colored jersey, and I want to drill them into the ground, maybe through the ground at times. And how do you do that when you're in camp? You don't. You just don't. I think, number one, if you're going to do this, just bag all your preseason games. Why even bother? Because you're not giving your own fans a chance to look at this team and make their own judgments.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
That's the issue to me.
You're right, and it gets and some of the cuts are starting to come out, and we'll be giving them to you all day long. Strong going quarterback, he got the highest amount of any undrafted free agent. Then didn't really get practice reps, didn't play in the games, and he's gone. And maybe the Eagles are right.
Got a nice chunk of change.
Got a nice chunk of change with the $300,000, but he probably would have liked to go to a team where he had opportunity to play. I believe that's why he came here. They sold him that he would have a chance to compete. Never happened. I just don't understand what we're supposed to take from all.
Well, it's a little weird, though, because if you go to Mike Tomlin, right? Mike Tomlin was playing his starters, and he was getting bashed because T.J. Watt went down, and it's nothing too serious, so that's good.
Yeah, because that is a risk.
It is. But it's just interesting where, okay, you have someone playing their guys, he gets banged up, you're dumb, why are you doing this? And then we're not playing our guys, and it's, oh, my God, how are we going through this? So how do you win? How do you win?
Well, I think you have to at least make camp matter, and this is where I'm interested in the cuts coming up into tomorrow. I would like to think, from what we saw with the backups, for example, that Blankenship guy should make the team because he made plays in the game. Allen, special teams, he should make the team. He probably won't, but at least if you're going to put that kind of product in front of me, at least let my eyeballs, if that guy can be the fastest guy in the league and be a good special teams player, have him earn it to make the team. But how much you want to bet they cut him, put him on the practice squad? So even what we saw, they're making their evaluations based on the practices we don't see.
Right, and they missed one. Don't forget, they missed the practice against the Dolphins on top of it.
Right,
so you have to wonder what was scheduled for that one that they failed to, I guess, accomplish in that sense.
And that's why Miami played their starters, because they didn't get to do the work they wanted to do in the joint practice. The Eagles didn't get to do the work, still didn't play anybody.
Right, which I just don't get it. I think we're all on that same page.
The Rams won the Super Bowl, though, with this method.
I'm not even saying.
You know what, though? You can't go by another team's method. I mean, think about this. It happened in baseball. All this, the Oakland A's and the Billy Bean stuff, and all of a sudden everybody jumped on it. Everybody's not going to win the World Series because of it. Right. It doesn't work that way. The other thing is you have sacrificial lambs out there.
Yeah.
I mean, how many guys knew that they're not going to make a team?
A lot of them.
Going into this game this past weekend.
Huntley's carries this preseason, I would have said, screw you. I'm not ruining my body for you.
I mean, he did that. He's not going. He already got cut, unfortunately. I believe he already got cut. We'll see. Maybe he did. But he's not going to make the team. And for what? For what? I'm just trying to understand what we got from it. I'm not even saying it's wrong. Again, just so we're clear, I still think the Eagles are going to win the NFC East. Still think that. I still think Jalen Hurts is going to take a step. Still think that. I still think the Eagles, maybe this is the right way. But as far as entertainment for the fans or knowledge or information for the fans, this particular preseason, this particular training camp was completely and utterly useless. And maybe you do have to go away from the games. Maybe you have to change something.
How many season ticket holders do you think went to that one game? Like the ones that actually own the tickets.
Oh, 5% of it.
Do you see what I mean here?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe 2%.
Don't you want to go to a game and see some of the players play that might excite you a little bit?
You got to see Jordan Davis on Saturday.
Yeah, okay.
Jordan
Davis because he needs reps.
97.5 Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia, best show ever, 610-632-0975. Word of the day is useless. Talking about the preseason, just what the heck was that? What was that on Saturday? 2 o'clock hour, brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Line. Conklin Attention HVAC Contractors for equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's counter locations in Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pensacola, where I grew up, or Westchester today. And now time to start the Twitter poll with one Jen Scordo. Hello, Jen.
Hello. Are NFL preseason games completely useless these days? Yeah. You can answer yes, absolutely, or no, it's still football. Early votes, we got a lot of them so far. Yes, absolutely. Useless is winning by 87%.
Yeah, it's just...
So that means 13% of people out there still find value in this.
Oh, and I would love to hear from
what
them.
are they watching?
I don't know.
It's got to be like relatives of the third, fourth string guys.
I don't know. And today, they've already got it down. They started with 80. They have to get down to 53 by tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So some guys will be today. Other guys will be tomorrow. I'm sure Howie's trying to make a trade or two. And I just want to make it clear again before we go to the phones. None of us are saying that the Eagles are now going to be bad. But what we are saying is, as fans, let's take our media hats off for a second. We get nothing from them anymore. We get no access to them whatsoever. It used to be 10 years ago, you could watch almost every practice. Now you watch one. Before there was 4 games. Not saying there should have been. Now there's 3. And the starters played 1 series in 3 games. And now we just have to just take their word for it that everything's okay. And maybe it is. Most likely it is. I still think they're a good team. But what the hell? Their Union, by the way, the Union are out of this world.
Burying teams.
They're killing folks, killing fools. Maxie was the bang the drum. Fantastic. Love the Union. Love them. Phillies were on a hot streak still Saturday. They won again before they lost. The Eagles have given us literally nothing for like 2 months now.
Well, I think that's the problem, too, where if we're now going to bring it back, so we started with 4 preseason, now it's 3. If we go back to 2 or 1, you know what we're going to see? We're going to see 1 series of Jalen Hurts, whether that's 1 game or 3 games. So I don't know if even peeling it back and having less preseason games is even going to fix our issue.
You're
We're
right.
going to see 6 throws of Jalen Hurts no matter what.
How about none?
Fine.
Just have these practices where you go and play other teams' practices.
Right. And show us then. We have.
How are they going to show you? Like have them open practices?
Something, or have it on Eagles.com, stream it, NBC Sports Philly.
You're right, anything.
You got to give us some access back. We cannot be, and I think they're taking people for granted. Remember, baseball was the pastime from the beginning till the 90s, and then football took over. Only reason to say that is everybody that's at the top one day could go down.
Right.
If the product becomes bad in September, I'm not talking about a week. I'm talking about a month of bad football, and we get no access. At some point, there's a tipping point where we say, I'm going to watch the sport that I actually have access to.
And does it, Hunter brought up, does it take away that getting to know you factor of the players?
We've seen a couple interviews on the sideline of guys in street clothes with Dave Spadaro. Outside of that,
yeah, but how many people were actually watching the game at that point?
Not many.
Well, let me put you this way. You look at someone like Devontae Smith, for example, right? And we do have... We can use Maxey as almost the highest bar, but the relationship we feel with Maxey, we should probably have something similar with Devontae Smith. And I think it's creeping that way, but there still is a gap. And I think the lack of being able to feel like we are even more together than we are, it's missing. There is something missing we should have the same exact feeling for Devontae as we do Maxey. And I personally don't think it's the same level. Do you, Ty?
No, it's not.
Maxey's also making an effort to be out there. Right. Like you just said, he went and rang it over at Subaru Park.
So in 1 week, he was on
the broadcast,
and then there within a week.
Yeah, I mean, that's getting yourself up, putting yourself out there.
Right.
A lot of players will not do that these days.
I think that ties together. Just to put a bow on it, I do feel, because I know I'm talking about this, yet we're trying to put it together with preseason. It's just the way athletes are these days with the lack of being able to feel within one with the community. And this is that time in football where you'd be able to see your team, get to know your team, have a little bit more knowledge of what the identity of some of these players are. And we get stripped of that. So now we're somewhat stuck in this environment where we're somewhat clueless on who the team is going to be this year.
And to be honest with you, with your team, when you're watching your team, you usually have some kind of a feel of what plays are going to be run or what kind of defense is going to be. We have nothing. Nothing.
And we don't know.
I mean, they could say, well, we know. Okay, that's fine. Congratulations.
What did you do for us? We're about to go to the phones. Also, the full price tickets, as Booty mentions, is he took his family out. He did the double. He was able to go to a Guardians game and the Eagles preseason game in Cleveland. 4 of them went for $30 total.
Okay, that's a preseason game.
Here, they charge full price.
Which is awful.
And at home, you got the starters for 0 plays for the one home game.
I don't know.
He played the one drive in New York.
I think it's pathetic. I really do.
No. He got one drive at home.
Yes.
One drive at home. Yes. You got one drive at home. Total. Which means next year, the first game may be on the road, you may get 0 snaps of starters.
But you should get 0 fans in the stands.
Give us something.
It was a damn good drive, though.
Yeah, it was.
It was a good drive.
It feels like it was a year ago.
Yeah, it feels like it was a year ago. It feels like it was part of last season.
Yeah, like how long ago was that?
And you paid full price for it.
And it was full price.
And it didn't count. And it didn't count.
For one drive. Mike and Ardmore, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yo, fellas, how's it going?
All right, how are you?
Good, yeah. I mean, I agree with kind of the main points here. I just think the problem is there's not really an answer. You know, there's not a clear answer because if you have a team, you know, like the Cowboys, they lose Tyrone Smith, you know Eagles fans are going to go crazy if that happens during a preseason game when starters are playing. And Sirianni, what's the benefit for him playing these guys more than 1 or 2 series when he can get most of what he wants to get out of it in these inter-squad games?
I hear you. Now, Smith was hurt in practice. That could have happened I'm glad it didn't. That could have happened to Mailata. Like, it was just in practice. He just dropped in practice, though. So that's the other part. You can't completely remove the risk from football either. So it's like on both sides you're kind of...
And how do you know it's not going to happen first game? Somebody's going to go in there, blow out 2, 3 guys.
It's going to happen to somebody.
Yeah.
We just hope it's not here. It's going to happen to somebody.
Yeah, I guess it's just like, what's the risk? Is the risk worth it to put them out there?
Probably not.
But I agree with your other point, Ty, that the NFL just needs to get a little more creative on how they expose these teams in August, because outside of Hard Knocks, like if we had like a Hard Knocks type thing for all these different local markets, I think it would be a better way to kind of get to know players on the fringe of the roster and get to know the rookies a little bit better, as opposed to seeing them in the preseason, which we're obviously not going to, in the future.
Yeah, it's a good point, Mike. Almost like this. I latched on to Mailata because of the story. Had never put a helmet on until like 2 weeks before the draft. How he takes a flyer. And they probably took the flyer because of his size. And then they have this setup where, because the Eagles are going to have an extra guy on their practice squad because he's the international. If you come from that international program, you're allowed to basically keep an extra guy in your system with the hopes. And then next thing you know, this guy just is a mega athlete who's super strong and huge, and he figures it out. Great story. That's a once-in-a-decade type of thing. Like, guys don't just learn football and become NFL players. What's the best story as far as guy rags the richest story on this Eagles team?
I don't think that there is one that's as flashy as it probably should be.
Somebody's likely going to make this team that we didn't think.
Blankenship.
Right, but at least we saw him.
Yeah,
but
you saw him. He practiced a lot with the ones during we do know that for a fact. So.
Yeah, but like Have we seen anyone talk to him one time?
No.
A single interview?
No.
Or anything? Anything? Like we don't know.
Why would you do that when Kelsey's available to talk and the guys that you've already heard from years are already available
I can
to talk?
I'll get Kelsey.
That's my whole point.
17 games.
You have to be able to know the younger players to even. How do you become fans?
Right.
I think that's the point you're trying to get at is how do you become a fan if you don't know these guys?
Right, and I know we're going to watch the games, but there is a point, and it's your generation, Hunter, where it can become a disconnect. No, this isn't a bad thing with their generation. It's a good thing. I'm at the point where football's locked in. The 20-somethings, it might have been locked in, but it can shift. Like, you guys move quicker with your habits and stuff. Like, the attention span's shorter. If you're not giving them what they want, the future fan, I know it's blasphemy to think, but imagine in 1975, imagine a day where baseball wasn't the top sport. No one would have believed it in 1975.